tsunami, flood, droughts, or even landslides. Natural disasters can surely be horrifying. A mere landslide is capable of destroying the lives of thousands. You could go from living a lush life to being homeless. Well, why don't you see for yourself? Hi guys, welcome to our channel, and in today's video, we present you the top 10 landslides. Before diving into our video, don't forget to smash the like button and subscribe to our channel. The plate tectonics theory paints the Earth's surface as a collection of floating plates that travel steadily over a molten shell, shifting the Earth's mass over millions of years. Although plate tectonics is a gradual process, landslides are natural events in which huge parts of our planet abruptly break apart and collapse to the ground. They are assisted by the force of gravity and are usually connected to some kind of trigger event, such as an earthquake. Many of the worst landslides in history have been completely unexpected events that have killed thousands and caught people off guard. Alright, so brace up as we show you the top 10 landslides. Number 10. Daishi Slides, China. The Daishi earthquake occurred on August 25, 1933 and triggered a series of gigantic landslides along the Ming River, some of which blocked the river and formed three massive landslides. The Landslide dam located in the furthest downstream was breached on the 9th of October 1933, 45 days after the earthquake. The outburst of the flood caused tremendous damage to the downstream area, killing about 3,000 people. One of the most severe landslide disasters in China in the 20th century. In the present work, gist analysis is applied to Daishi landslides on the basis of a review of historical records and previous studies and data gathered during fieldwork, and remote sensing and SRTM3 digital field data. Researchers attempted to ascertain the exact location of the 1933 landslides and measured the dam height, cross-section area, and dam landslides volume. Given the lack of topographical data prior to the 1933 earthquake, data on landslide lakes, including maximum water level and overall impounded volume, can only be estimated. Number 9. Kait Landslide, Tajikistan. In July 1949, the Kait landslide caused hundreds of landslides in a mountainous region along the southern border of the Tian Shan Mountains, central Tajikistan. These landslides involved the extensive collapse of the rock slope as well as significant numbers of lowest flow slides that lined the steep slopes of the region. In the Yasmin Valley, hundreds of lowest landslides coalesced to create a large lowest flow that moved up to 20 kilometers. In the adjacent valley, the Kait landslide involved the transformation of an earthquake-triggered rockslide into a swift flow of saturated loess into the movement. It traveled 7.41 kilometers over a vertical distance of 1,421 meters with an approximate average speed of 30 milliseconds. Its volume is estimated to be 75 cubic millimeters, an order of magnitude less than previously reported estimates. The Kait landslide was already simulated using the DAN. Approximately 4,000 people were killed in the Yasmin Valley loss as 20 villages were destroyed. 800 people lost their lives when the villages of Kait and Kisorak were overrun by rapid debris. Number 8. Navarro Huascarán Debris Fall, Peru. On January 10, 1962, an avalanche on the slopes of the extinct volcano killed more than 4,500 people in Peru. 9 towns and 7 smaller villages were ruined. Mount Huascarán rises 22,000 feet above sea level in the Andes. There were many small Peruvian villages, the inhabitants of which farmed the Rio Santa Valley. On the evening of January 10, when most of the locals gathered in their homes for dinner, the edge of a massive glacier abruptly broke off and thundered down the mountain. The block of ice was the height of 2 skyscrapers and weighed about 6 million tons, making a loud noise as it fell, which was heard in the towns below. Since avalanches were not unusual in the region, it was common knowledge that there was usually a 20 to 30 minute delay between the sound of ice breaking and the avalanche, which allowed people time to reach higher ground. This time though, the landslide traveled 9.5 miles in just 7 minutes, wiping out many communities. The communities of Ranrahirka and Huarascucho were buried under 40 feet of ice, mud, trees, boulders, and other debris. Only a handful of people survived from each town. The avalanche eventually ended at the Santa River, where it stopped the water flow, causing floods in surrounding areas. Overall, about 4,500 people lost their lives in the landslide. Some bodies were carried 100 miles away all the way to the Pacific Ocean around Chimbote. Others were buried in so much debris that their remains have never been recovered. An additional 10,000 farm animals were killed and millions of dollars worth of crops ruined. Number 7. Huaraz debris flows, Peru. The debris flow that occurred in Huaraz, Peru, on December 13, 1941, was possibly caused by a landslide collapsing into Lake Palpacocha. The wave that resulted was powerful enough to wipe out the Morainao Dam holding back the water. This combination of water and sediment flowed down the valley until it came into contact with Lake Hiracocha. The force of the meltwater flood took the entire contents of Lake Hiracocha with it, contributing to the sheer volume of liquids and solids that found their way into the unstable town of Huaraz. The force of the flood swept out about 1/3 of the town and killed about 5,000 people. The rest of the city was motivated to prevent the repeat of such a disaster while implementing certain mild security measures, such as a fortified dam and a drainage system. They assumed this was sufficient when a minor flood occurred in 2003. This flood was enough to encourage further studies into improved mitigation techniques. Number 6. Galud Lahars, Indonesia. A catastrophic eruption occurred on May 19th and 20th of 1919 at Mount Galud in East Java, Indonesia. This massive eruption, one of the deadliest in the 20th century, is believed to have killed 5,160 people. The vast majority of people died in lahars caused by an eruption. It was also one of the worst landslide disasters of the 20th century. A very interesting paper on this event's social impact, Mawiato and Sasmita 2019, is available online with an open access. They point out that this is a particularly interesting lahar event, partly because of the detailed accounts of the impacts. The key problem at Mount Galud is the presence of a crater lake, which at the period had an approximate volume of 40 million cubic meters. The whole lake displaced the eruption, which led to large volumes of ash, generating enormous lahars. Number 5. Kedarnath, India. One of the worst natural disasters in India's history occurred in June 2013, when massive flash floods killed around 5,700 people in the Himalayan state of Uttarakhand. Consistent cloudbursts and incessant monsoon rains were mainly responsible for the tragedy, officially referred to as natural calamity. However, a portion of environmentalists, scientists, and the educated public believes differently. According to them, thoughtless human intervention in the Himalayan mountain ecosystem has made the ecosystem incredibly vulnerable and prone to disaster. Unchecked tourism in the region has boosted the fast increase of hotels, roads, and shops in the region without paying attention to the ecosystem's environmental rules and demands. The mushrooming of the hydroelectric in Uttarakhand was also another significant cause for environmental disruption. Heavy rainfall had previously been reported in the area, which had contributed to flash floods, but the damage caused in 2013 was comparable to no previous records. Number 4. 1970 Nevado Huascaran Debris Fall, Peru. The 1970 Huascaran debris avalanche occurred on May 31, 1970. The debris avalanche and mudflow caused by the Ancash earthquake demolished Ungay, Peru, and 10 nearby villages, leaving up to 18,000 dead. It is the most deadly avalanche or glacier-related tragedy in history and the fourth most deadly landslide-related disaster of the 20th century. The provincial government, however, made efforts to prevent the news from circulating and advised people not to panic. The 1970 earthquake destabilized the glacier and snowmass that rose quickly downhill, becoming a mudflow as it deposited vast amounts of loose soil, rock, and surface water. The death toll was worsened by the earthquake that occurred while thousands of people gathered in Ungay for the market and the mudflow hit and flattened the region. The slide entered the Rio Santa and caused extensive damage when it flowed all the way downstream to the Pacific Ocean. Number 3. Armero Tragedy, Colombia. A dormant volcano, the Nevado del Ruiz in Tolima, Colombia, abruptly came to life on November 13, 1985, wreaking havoc on neighboring villages and towns, killing as many as 2,300 civilians. The volcano's crater pyroelastic flow had melted down the glaciers in the mountains and sent destructive lahars, saturated with ice, ash, snow, and volcanic debris, streaming down the hill at killer speeds to the residential areas directly below. Lahars quickly engulfed the town of Armero, killing thousands there, while casualties were also reported in other towns such as Chinchina. Number 2. Vargas Tragedy, Venezuela. The winter of 1999 witnessed extreme rainfall in the state of Vargas in Venezuela. Rain caused a series of big and small flash floods and debris flows that claimed over 30,000 lives in the region. About 10% of the population of Vargas is believed to have died in the tragedy. The entire town of Carmen de Uria and Cerro Grande disappeared entirely beneath the mudbed, and a substantial number of homes were literally swept away into the nearby ocean. Number 1. Haiyun Flows, China. The 8.5 magnitude Haiyun earthquake was one of the deadliest earthquakes in the 20th century. A series of 675 major landslides resulted in significant destruction of lives and infrastructure. The natural disaster that struck the rural district of Haiyun on the evening of December 16, 1920, claimed more than 100,000 lives and severely damaged an area of approximately 20,000 square kilometers. The worst hit areas included the epicenter of the Haiyun County earthquake in what is now the autonomous territory of Ningzhou-Yu, as well as the nearby provinces of Gansu and Shanxi. Haiyun County alone lost more than 50% of its population in the tragedy. One of the landslides even buried a whole village in Shiji County. That's it for today, guys. Quite a lot of tragedies we have seen. If you liked the video, make sure to drop a like and let us know in the comments which landslide shook you the most. Don't forget to turn on the bell for more updates. See you soon.